Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, which is titled Towards the European Health Data Space and How ShiftHub and RAISE Together Foster Secure Data Sharing and Innovation. My name is Elena Bubek. I'm a project manager at the Steinbeis Europe Center in Germany. I'm the coordinator of ShiftHub, and I will be today's moderator. And together with our co-organizers and partners from the RAISE project, we are very delighted to have you with us today and really appreciate your interest in this important topic on the future of health data in Europe. And you are all probably aware of this, but the European Health Data Space is a cornerstone initiative that is aimed at creating trusted, interoperable environments where health data can be stored and securely and responsibly. So this is not really just about the technology, but rather about enabling collaboration, accelerating research, driving innovation, so that really that benefits the patients, the healthcare providers, and then society, of course, as a whole. And this is also a vision that is shared by our EU projects, and this is why we're bringing this webinar to you today. So within the next 90 minutes, we will explore how collaboration and innovation can drive secure data sharing across Europe, and also how initiatives like ShiftHub and RAISE Together are contributing to this vision. So we will kick off the webinar with a keynote of Gorka Epelde, in which he will share his expert insights on the European health data spaces. And then we will explore how two European projects, RAISE and ShiftHub, are working together to make the European health data space come to life. And for both, we will have a short general introduction into the project, which is then followed by a closer look at their practical approaches and how these empower researchers and innovators across Europe by really fostering collaboration, scaling smart health solutions, as well as building transparent and trustful research ecosystems for efficient data sharing and processing. So this is basically what we want to convey to you today. And then we will complete the webinar by a data provider's view, sharing what value these platforms and collaboration actually created for them. But before we begin, I would like to add a quick few notes. So the session will be recorded, as you might already be aware of, and will be made available on YouTube later on our ShiftHub channel. So please feel free to share the link afterwards with colleagues, your network, or with anyone that might be interested to listen to it. And also, to ensure good sound quality, I kindly ask you to mute yourself during the webinar. But of course, this is an interactive session, so we encourage you to engage, ask questions, and share your perspectives. So please feel free to use either the chat for questions during the presentations or raise your hand during the Q&A sessions when we address these questions. Yeah, and that's all I want to say basically for the beginning of this webinar. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, or our keynote speaker, which is Gorka Epelde. Gorka holds a PhD in computer science from the University of the Basque Country. He is currently a data coordinator at the Bio-Gipuzkoa Health Research Institute, after previously leading the big data in biomedicine research line at Vicomtech, where he gained extensive experience in data preparation, interoperability, and synthetic data generation. Also, he served as a technical coordinator for the RAISE project and led the development of the digital biobank within the Lucia project. And Gorka has actively contributed also to multiple initiatives related to secondary use of health data at the THEDAS1 Advisory Board, the Gaia-X Spain, projects on early analysis on the EHDS regulation, implementation of the Basque Country, and also the EOSC Task Force on Health. So Gorka, it's a pleasure to have you with us today, and we're very much looking forward to your keynotes on the European health data spaces. And with that, I'd say the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Alina. And I would like to first thank the organizers for inviting me to share my knowledge, thoughts with the community, let's say. So, okay. So, given the title of the that I was assigned for this session on the European health data spaces, I somehow aimed to do an analysis or put my thoughts on a presentation where to talk about the EHDS regulation and the alternative ways to build data spaces, such as public-private data spaces, and to know and analyze the potential of ShiftHub and RAISE approaches and the EHDS integration opportunities that these projects can offer. I know more about RACE as I was previously the technical coordinator of RACE, but not so much about Shift Hub. So happy to clarify later on or discuss afterwards. Okay, so all this is, let's say, in the context of the European data strategy, so that the European Union aims to establish a comprehensive data-driven economy, building on different pillars, so named as data sovereignty, seamless operation, and responsible data reuse, and is pushing the different data spaces on different sectoral domains. And in the case of the health data space, this has been kind of one of the most advanced initiatives, setting the floor for so sensitive and such a data that can promote well-governed data-driven economy. So this is a figure, a typical figure from the Commission, where they show the different data spaces that they are somehow pushing forward. Okay, so just before going to the core components that I might later talk about how Shift Hub or RACE could potentially contribute. Short thoughts or short talk in EHDS. These are slides from the Commission. So the EHDS has two clear parts. One is the primary use, which is the delivery data, how data is used and how this data is made interoperable for delivery of care. So if I'm from the Basque Country or go to Greece or whatever, so I can continue having my healthcare delivered with the whole story of my my data on health. Yes.
Were you supposed to share your slides because we don't see them currently?
Moving.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry for that. So then I forgot to start sharing. Thank you.
You're welcome, no problem.
Okay,
Perfect.
sorry. So this was the first slide where I was planning to present stuff. Then this is the European strategy, and this is a image of different data spaces. So what I was aiming to introduce is shortly the EHDS regulation, which has the primary use part, which is the delivery of health, focused on the data interoperability and flows to enable scenarios where we travel around Europe and we and our care providers have reach to all our data that is necessary somehow. Then there is the secondary use, the use of overall data or on health or health-related data for research and public interest. And the regulation also have a relevant section which is about interoperability on EHRs, which is mostly related to the primary use. But today's discussion is mostly focused on secondary use. So in a nutshell, let's say that the regulation describes certain aspects that I will number now, but it also has different projects building the common infrastructure. So, so first of all, the EHDS establishes and dictates the different European rules on who has to make which data related to health available for which purposes and under which conditions. One of the core actors will be the health data access bodies, will be public entities that will orchestrate, let's say, most of the game. Then there will be data permits or applications for requesting data and enabling data use under a common safeguards, data catalogs of the different available data sets, and a common infrastructure that will more or less look like this. So up to what we have heard about regulation, most of it would mostly I understand has been on the national context, where usually the flow is that a data holder, usually a public healthcare provider, but can be private ones or even a dentist or whatever, describes the datasets that it has available. This is somehow, let's say, obligatory for the different companies, public institutions that have data on health. So they have to describe their metadata, make it available to the HDABs. And then the user, a data user, can analyze this catalog, which is shown here as catalog, and request a data application. So which is named here as the DAA. So this data application is analyzed from a ethics perspective, from data protection perspective, data minimization, and so on and so forth. And based on the rules that the Health Data Access Body will have, they decide whether the permit is valid or not. I'm simplifying quite a lot, but that's fine. So if it's a yes, then the HDAB will ask data holder for the data set that it has requested. It will implement the different processes for anonymization, pseudonymization, or whichever Health Data Access Body has decided to provide access to the data user. And this is placed in a secure processing environment. Instead of allowing to download as now, until now has been the norm to the data user, the data set is placed in a secure processing environment with the tools required for analysis, and the data user enters this protected area and works in that area. That's more or less the idea, the regular one, okay? So this is somehow in the national context, but in the European playground, there is one central platform, which is called Health Data.eu, which has the overall catalogs, and what actually is via the NCP units, the different health data access bodies share these catalogs with the central platform. So whoever comes to the central platform can find out the datasets from anywhere, let's say. There is a special type of NCP, which is a EUCP, and a special type of HDAB, which connects European Union level data holders like the EMA for Medicine Agency or ECDC for diseases or so on. And there is another block which is called authorized participants. Well, authorized participants would be any of these blocks, but this refers to research infrastructures, which can be, for example, the case of RACE. So there are certain, in the regulation, there are some certain thoughts that I will go later on, which talk about how different research infrastructures could try to apply to be one of these authorized participants and to share their catalogs, enable the secure processing environments, and so on. And in a later future, let's say that maybe through different contracts with the different countries, but international access might be enabled. The basics of this regulation was set to practice in the 26th of March of this year. So it has 4 years until that the first main functionalities are delivered, and then there are 2 extra years for certain specific data types like genomics, where privacy can be more difficult, and so on and so forth. And later on, maybe the different interaction with other countries might come. Okay, so this was about EHDS and what the regulation says. But the regulation also says that this is the minimum regulatory that is somehow obliging those that have data to somehow participate here. I will not detail today that there are certain aspects of the regulation that look at the IPRs of data, because maybe that data set might be, for a private company, might be kind of the core to business. So whenever you declare this data set, you can also declare IPRs and so on, so that whenever a data user asks, you can maybe share it with the specific users or through specific contracts. Okay, but in this slide, what I was going to say is that the regulation itself that it says that it's not exclusive, not excluding other approaches that might be existing, because maybe we already have existing data spaces built among sectoral public-private partnerships that might be working. So what it says is, okay, for EHDS you have to obligatory share it, but you can have the others in parallel. And usually, if you have these networks in parallel, might be quicker to more dynamic, I would say, quicker to update. You maybe have more governance, and maybe they are more reduced, and so you already have maybe further contacts and certain governance aspects agreed and well regulated. So in this context of having to play on the EHDS playground and having the alternative also in parallel, additionally, to have public-private data spaces, I think that Shift Hub or RAISE provided essential tools and governance frameworks can contribute into this scenario. Okay, so the first one would be the sectoral public-private data spaces, which, as I was mentioning, they are usually more flexible. They usually will enable more dynamic data sharing ecosystem, but they have to be fulfilling the GDPR and additional regulations that might come up. So this is clear. And this usually will allow for more rapid innovation and cross-border collaboration. So in this aspect, it are key to somehow have tools on our data spaces that allow the interoperability among different members and allow connecting different diverse health data sources, having a robust governance framework, but at the same time somehow flexible for specific stuff in specific scenarios or use cases, and also a good technical infrastructure, providing a secure, scalable analysis capabilities and interoperability. I have named here interoperability. I mean, these sectoral public-private data spaces can be on your own, let's say, protocols and on your own building blocks, but I think that interoperability can be key, and also the European Commission is looking for interoperability among data spaces to build somehow connecting data spaces and so on, so that this data-based economy is more scalable and has better results. So I was putting here interoperability, as far as I know, in different areas, like in EOSC, or the European Commission is proposing the simple technology. Eclipse Foundation has a data space standardization work group where different GAIA-X, IBSA, and others are aiming to somehow come up to different interoperable connectors and specifications. And I have here added some slides on Simple, because it's the European Commission proposal for connecting different data spaces. This Simple project has 3 parts, which is Simple Open, which would be the open source implementation of it, and Simple Labs, which would be the playground to test different interoperability tests and so on. And then it also has different Simple Live where different data spaces are aimed to be piloted to check and shape this simple stuff. And as we can see that the initial pilots also consider the EHDS secondary use and the EOSC. Simple, for those who are more or less aware of data spaces, it's kind of a building block in different levels of interoperability to enable the interoperation among infrastructure provider, data provider, application provider, and end users that will make use of it. And the vision that Simple looks like is to somehow be able within sectorial data spaces to connect certain data spaces or areas, and also among different sectors like industrial data spaces, smart communities, and destination Earth. So this is somehow the view And my message here was that in this also public-private data spaces, it would be relevant to follow interoperability guidelines, to be aware of how Simple and other initiatives evolve, because Simple has released some proof of concept. I think some minimal viable product was to be released soon, but I would recommend also if this approach is followed, which for RAISE I see that it's one of the main one where they come from. Could be interesting to be keeping an eye on what's going on and maybe implementing drivers or so. The second pathway where this type of projects could contribute would be as a research infrastructures, as I said previously, as authorized participants in EHDS. So here, what the regulation says, I mean, there are many parts as I'm putting here on in implementing acts that will come with implementing acts, because regulation only specifies the core, let's say. So the regulation itself talks about health-related infrastructures or similar infrastructures can request this for those whose operation is based on union law. So it talks about EDICS, S3 named or recognized infrastructure, or EOSC infrastructure. It also says somehow other similar infrastructures. The required functions for this to somehow request is that they provide use of electronic health data for research, policy making, statistical, patient safety, or regulatory. So it's somehow aligned with EHDS goals. So there will be a process of application and compliance. Only they are named, they are not developed how they will be, like the compliance check, so that you're interoperable, and the connecting decision by the Commission. And some technical requirements that can be found out are that the mandatory use of SPE, and this will need to be somehow certified with the requirements of the HGS, the federation of the data catalogs with the European dataset catalogs, so that if we try to go this way, that our catalogs are federated with the one on the EU central platform. And but it also allows the research infrastructures to keep their grant access according to their own policies. So, well, this again, if compliance checks is passed and connecting decision is done, then they will say so. So on the pathway 3, as I was mentioning, it would be to facilitate the participation or facilitate tools on regular EHDS HDAB path. So this would be the national path. So what I was thinking, again, mostly from RAISE point of view, despite I've looked at the Shift Hub webpage, it would be that RAISE might have already quite many datasets and might have many more datasets in the future. So RAISE can facilitate those data holders to share this valuable data through standardized channels, connecting them somehow into the HDABs. Also aligning the metadata and data preparation towards the EHDS requirements. Like, so if I'm mentioning here HealthyCat AP description is required by EHDS. So if RAISE or Shift Hub metadata description goes towards that, then you're somehow taking one step out. And additionally, there is I mean, at least RAISE has no operation of some conceptual SPE, secure processing environment. So if we make sure that the secure processing environment fulfills the specs that might be coming or will be coming on the implementing act, then RAISE or Shift Hub could be able to certificate their secure processing environments. And just a couple of slides to finish and wrap up. Practical checklist for pathways. I mean, in order to play in any of these playground or aimed for integration, is to target a a clear governance framework that will especially look for ethical parts and well-tracked governance policies. GDPR compliance, looking for data protection, starting by privacy by design principles, interoperability with the different standards that may come up for the integration in both playgrounds, secure processing environments, deploying and aiming for certification with the security and access control. One of the bullets that I was thinking was the sustainability and federation with the different data spaces. So this will live on. So, and you will be easier accepted if you have some kind of a sustainability plan and you're not somehow a project that tomorrow will not exist or so. And also to keep up the dual strategy in mind, so that maybe the future developments of your projects might create different opportunities and keeping both in mind. So the path forward for me, the EHDS and these data spaces approaches create unprecedented opportunities for secure, innovative healthcare data sharing. I have put on this slide what is my thought from my knowledge that could be good options for you. So I would invite you to further analyze your options, to engage with initiatives, EHDS initiatives, local ones, national ones, the different data spaces one. I mean, from the different data spaces sometimes can be a bit difficult to stay on top of different approaches and so on. But I also invite you to do so and to start the journey as soon as possible. So with that, thank you. Hope that I haven't gone too far on time.
Thank you very much. Perfect timing. Now, thanks a lot for the insights. That was really interesting. And also, I really like that you already included the vision of ShiftHub and RAISE. So thanks a lot. I think that was quite practical also. Before I would go ahead with questions, I would like to quickly check for the audience if there are any questions for Gorka. So please raise your hand if you would like to ask a question or use the chat. Just quickly monitoring it. Looks like I might be the first one to go with questions, actually. So thanks for providing the checklist for the described pathway. I think that this is also really helpful, not only for us, but also for the audience. So that's great. And also we will share the slides with the participants after the webinar, just that everyone is aware. I also like that in the last slide, you pointed out, like I'd say, the 3 recommendations to do and to go for. And one of them was that you said engage with other initiatives. And that's really great that you put that there too, because that's what ShiftHub and RAISE were trying to do. Because at the very beginning at ShiftHub, we were also planning to set up a health data space for data sharing. But to be honest, while the project was proceeding, we kind of realized that there were already other projects doing these, which were quite more advanced, such as RAISE. So instead of pursuing, I'd say, our approach, we kind of took a step back from that and rather collaborated with other initiatives who were already ahead of us and more advanced, I'd say, like RAISE. And this is basically what we're doing now. So instead of doing a redundant data space, we're doing the collaboration with RAISE. So RAISE is more, I'd say, the technical side, really having a data space. And we with ShiftHub, we're basically providing with the community, like as a hub, and getting our network to use the data space or the RAISE platform and bringing them together. So us as a hub, connecting the stakeholders across Europe and then having race as like the technical part of the data space where actually the that is useful for data sharing and integration. Or that's at least like the collaboration we now kind of agreed on. So yeah, but now coming to my question, I wanted to talk about a bit more on the EHDS implementation, because you're quite experienced with the early analysis of EHDS regulation in the Basque Country, right? So what do you see as the, I'd say, biggest practical challenge for EHDS implementation across other regions?
Challenges for
for implementation. So when you were also for the regulations in the Basque Country, so do you see like any biggest practical challenges that might come up when you want to roll out a data space?
I mean, I'm not involved in the current deployment of EHDS required HDAB in the Basque Country right now. That to make somehow clear, as this has been also posted in internet. I was involved in an early analysis project that we were invited. So I think that the biggest challenge right now, I mean, on the one hand, is that still you have the regulation, but you don't have all the details on the implementation plan. There are projects like TEDAS2 or others like Shaped or Quantum Project, which are working on a specific parts of it. And for example, TEDAS2 is publishing the different guidelines. I mean, the guidelines, or yes, it's publishing different guidelines on how HDAB should work and so on. And it's and they are actually open for public consultation right now. I mean, they are in different phases. So I would say that rather than technical, is to have people that is aware of all the different guidelines that are being pushed down. I mean, to be aware of the whole concept and the guidelines that are going, being able to participate on early piloting, so that you get prepared. I mean, I see that rather than technical issue is being aware of the whole thing that is going on and how to move forward. And I mean, because for example, in the Basque Country, for let's say for health provision, there is a really good, well integrated, one common, let's say EHR where this is working. But then the thing is on how you set up the whole processes. You start piloting, you start implementing things, but you don't have the final implementation there. How do you involve the citizens, also making aware of the whole thing that is going on, so that they are willing to not, I mean, saying it's a regulation and it's an implementation, but maybe they are willing to also participate on saying some things how should be done. So, and all, I mean, I'm not an expert and I would not be able to provide recommendations on the current implementation. I mean, I'm aware of technical and policy things that involves, but I mean, I didn't expect this question, but it's good.
No, that's perfect. I think the answer was perfectly fine, to be honest. I mean, because I think it's important to look from that side as well. And I can totally relate that the involvement in making like citizens and patients aware of these things is actually one of the biggest challenges. Also to create trust in that this health data is collected and shared. So that's also what we learned from other I'd say, yeah, webinars and workshops that just involving citizens and patients also. It's sometimes forgotten when you think about technicalities and regulations. Yeah, but
because,
no, I think there was a full picture.
I mean, there are parts. I mean, there are parts of opt-outs and opt-in, and I mean, it's actually opt-out. But I mean, if you don't explain clearly to people what are the clear benefits, not of only for secondary use, for primary use, how they can make the most use of it, and for what it is, if you don't show the benefits that the whole thing will create on them, I mean, so for me, it's a key. I mean, actually, we have done some events here outside the implementation that might be going on with the citizenship or the citizens to talk about the secondary use and that this is done following specific regulations, specific security and privacy governance and so on. So yeah. I mean, for me, the difficulties are keeping up with the whole implementation and the things that are yet to be defined or yet to be agreed on. And I mean, for me, it would be that, and also involving and making citizens aware. And also, I also, when I've been asked to talk about this, is also making aware of those data holders that are not aware that they are data holders. Because nowadays, most of the people thinks on the public health provider. Okay, this is the one that has most data, but there are a lot of companies, a lot of other, as I said, dentists or can be someone. I mean, there are a lot of profiles that fulfill this data holder profile, and they have to start getting ready for what it counts, because they will also need to describe their data sets and so on. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not only implementing certain specific parts of them, but making the whole community aware that this is coming. I mean, specifically for the EHDS, that they will have more opportunities, but in some cases more also work to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's 100% true. And also, like the last sentence, that is actually the perfect transition into our next topic, when you said like making the like the whole community and ecosystem aware of that, because that's like one of the, I'd say, key objectives that we as a project provide, like the Shift Hub. So we will have some time for further questions at the end of the session. So if anyone wants to, or kind of has another question for Gorka, we can also address that later on. But in regard to time, I would continue with the next talk then. But thank you so much for sharing these insights.
Okay,
and I hope you stick around. All right, so as I've said, it's already the perfect transition to a really short, so I'm keeping it really short, introduction into the Shift Hub project. Maybe some of the participants are already aware of that, so I'm really making it quite quick here. So as you can also see from the slides, our project's main aim is really to foster the development and the uptake of smart health technologies. And we're doing this with European funding, but we're a coordination support action. So we're a project that is not actually doing research itself or developing a technology new, but we are coordinating and implementing support actions for ecosystems and networks across Europe. And this is exactly what we're doing with the received funding. So we are creating a smart health innovations and futures technologies hub across Europe. So bringing the ecosystem and the community together, basically. And so when I say we, I'm referring to all our 12 partners and the consortium that represent important stakeholders from the ecosystem, so technology developers, patient representatives, knowledge providers, infrastructure providers, a lot of them. And our main goal together is really to facilitate the development, so start early, then ensure the promotion, so help them to get the development out there, and then really to foster the uptake of smart health technologies and services. So making sure that everyone is aware of that and that actually these technologies are used. And for that, our hub is providing services to all stakeholders of the smart health innovation ecosystem. That first and foremost, of course, includes the patients and the citizens and the healthcare professionals, but also, of course, the developers of the smart health technologies and policy and decision makers. And our services are structured into these 3 key pillars here, which represent 3 key values that are designed to meet the needs of our different stakeholders. The first one is either to build and boost the innovation, or to connect and thrive collaboration, or to learn and grow the knowledge. So whatever it is basically you're looking for in value, you can find respective services listed under these values on our website. And I will just really quickly guide you through that, what that actually means. So on the build and boost pillar, we have services that support the development and the uptake of smart health products. These are services that are more targeted towards technology providers and developers. And these range from generating new ideas, over finding the right partners and finance access, to really showcasing to develop solutions. So basically with the services, we cover the entire pathway of technology development. So for example, we would start in our open innovation workshops, where we focus on idea generation and then really road mapping to facilitate getting your idea into implementation. Then when you start putting your ideas to use, we offer support for finding access to finance, public as well as private, or access to health data to develop and to test your new digital solutions, for example, by doing this collaboration with RAISE. And then during the development process, our living labs offer the opportunity to test and to co-create your solutions with actual end users. And then finally, once your solution is market ready, in our demo days, we give you visibility and opportunities to showcase them to the end users so that everyone is really aware that the technology is out there. In the middle pillar, that is called Connect and Thrive, that contains services to foster collaboration and exchange among the stakeholders, as well as to build and really support here a smart health community across Europe. And our central point for that is our community platform, which hosts several events, workshops, and also matchmaking opportunities. One of the key initiatives here is also the focus group on eHealth, which is basically a vibrant network dedicated to advancing health. Here we foster collaboration between experts to build concrete ideas and policy positions on important topics such as shared data spaces, AI, or cybersecurity. But my colleague Gabriele will go into detail on that later a bit more. Another service that we do here is the implementation of events such as our entrepreneurial discovery workshops. This was a service in which, I'd say, a workshop series in which we identified and compared the chances, barriers, and structures between regional innovation ecosystems. The goal was here to involve policymakers and to create concrete policy recommendations, to really put forward the needs of the ecosystems to help them accelerate. We actually only recently published our policy recommendations that were drawn from these events and can be found on our website. So I encourage you to check them out if you're interested in them. And then just a quick glance at the last pillar, which is the learn and growth pillar. Here we focus more on services to foster exchange in knowledges and as well as best practices. We have some services which are focused on citizens and or healthcare professionals, essentially. Such as the collection of educational resources on smart health and digital applications. So here we basically offer educational material and courses to increase here the trust and improve the literacy of these stakeholders, as well as the gamified user journey, which is solely directed at citizens to really increase here the population's knowledge on health-related matters. So we have created 5 mini games on different health aspects and diseases that can be played on our website, mobile devices, or the regular computers. Via our website. And then the last services I would like to cover are the capacity building workshops. They, on the other hand, focus more on the exchange of professional ecosystem stakeholders, such as digital innovation hubs, research institutions, policy makers, or even healthcare providers. And in these workshops, we facilitate here the knowledge exchange and sharing of best practices on different methodologies, such as open innovation, access to fundings, or living labs. So basically that the services that hubs or other initiatives are offering to stakeholders, that they are effective. and that these methodologies are shared. And the last thing I would like to mention is that we will actually have a next workshop on a complete service offer of innovation hubs and how they create value for the ecosystem stakeholders next Thursday. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to have a look at our community platform where the event is hosted, where you can register. And other than that, I encourage you to learn more about the project or stick around for Gabriele's presentation and explore the ShiftHub community, because there's more in it than just these different services. And without any further ado, I would now like to introduce my ShiftHub colleague, Gabriele Casalini from the European Digital SME Alliance, who will give us a more detailed look into the opportunities of the community platform and the marketplace. So basically the places where we offer collaboration, access, and exchange for the ecosystem stakeholders. So Gabriele holds an academic background in political science and European studies, with a particular focus here on EU policy and market regulations. Currently, he is a tech project officer at the European Digital SME Alliance, where he manages several EU-funded projects on ICT, technology, standardizations, and e-health. And within that context, he also coordinates the ShiftHub focus group on e-health, as well as consolidates experiences in policy analysis, community building, communication, also the management of stakeholders and experts. And on behalf of the Digital SME Alliance, he also actively contributes to European Commission and ETSI standardization groups, ensuring here that really the SME perspective is represented in the standardization ecosystem as well. So Gabriele, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Elena, and thank you for the kind introduction. Welcome, everybody. It's great to having you here this afternoon. I wanted to quickly go through the community platform and the services that ShiftHub is providing, especially regarding the upcoming steps, opportunities, and events that we will be hosting, together with a full suite of tools that you can use and you may not be aware of regarding our network and our community platform. So, as it was also mentioned before during this event, our ShiftHub network has grown during the years, and we have collected and grew up a large community comprehensive of very different e-health and digital healthcare stakeholders, from technology providers to innovation and financial intermediaries, but also academia, public authorities, and patients. So we also welcome the opportunity to grow the community even larger and continue to offer our services. And the community platform is the core of the project that connects all the different opportunities and activities. So you may also be already aware of the community platform. It's hosted on a separate platform, and it connects all the users and organizations that have joined and registered a profile on the platform itself. So now we are counting more than 750 international members from all across Europe, but also beyond, like Turkey and other Eastern European countries, some also more international ones. And it's the place that connects the opportunities and especially host the events of ShiftHub. I will also explain a bit more into details in the next slide about the marketplace and the further opportunities that you have when joining the platform. Regarding events, we host a full suite of events, from international ones to those that are focused on funding or even matchmaking. And the platform itself is designed to also support the organization of matchmaking events with full automatic tools to connect stakeholders and make them facilitate their connection through networking and communication. Also, it is possible on the platform itself to gain visibility within the community of all the members by showcasing your organization, your profile, your opportunities, solution or product within the relevant ecosystem. So regarding events, most of the focus has been put into providing services to the community, like through open innovation workshops or even through deep dives on specific technology fields, like those organized under the focus group on eHealth, or even onboarding to the health data space environment, or capacity building workshops that support innovation in the field. As the community platform itself, by joining and exploring the platform, you can scroll through the opportunities and scroll through the participants that have registered for the same events as you are, or even the overall participants that have joined the community. And for particular matchmaking events, you also will be able to do direct matchmaking with other participants by inviting them to one-to-one meetings or sending even direct private messages. Another suite of events, we also have organized international brokerage events focused on consortium building, EU funding, and partnership making. But also we have hosted external events that also provide opportunities for digital health stakeholders, especially companies and SMEs. But also we have organized pitching sessions and also webinars and events focused on funding, private and public. Regarding the marketplace, it's the core of the community in which you are able to provide more visibility to your product, solutions, or even partnership opportunities and needs. As you can see, it's a new addition that is starting to be used by other community members, in which you can provide all relevant solutions or other items from your company or association or similar, and you can search through all the other opportunities that have been published on the marketplace. You can connect by looking through the other companies, looking for more information about their representatives, what they are doing, or even their products. And you can also register to future events, and all these content that you have put in the marketplace will automatically appear in all the events. So it will be connected to your profile automatically. Regarding the benefits and how to join, but potentially using all the functionalities of the platform, you may already be aware on how to register and build your profile. But among the other functionalities, you can also access the participants list through the profile for each event. So you're also free to connect, to look for potential partnership and network with other stakeholders. You can also use the automatic matchmaking for the events in which it is available, and also browse the marketplace and see all the other opportunities for the other members. Regarding the party in collaboration, you can also search and filter with the overall community members, more than 700, and you can also send direct messages to them through the platform itself. So it's the right place also to find the right partners, project funding, or other business opportunities. Regarding partnership, we're also going towards the end of the project. So we're also looking for potential synergies and partnership, especially for 2026 onwards. So the community will be staying active, but we are also looking for synergies or collaboration with external projects, association, or other European funded or private initiatives. So if it's something that you would like, if there is something you would like to collaborate on with the ShiftHub community, or even host events, roundtable matchmaking related to eHealth, or explore the functionalities and how they can support your initiatives, feel free to get in touch with me or my colleagues in ShiftHub. Regarding upcoming events, of course, you are all invited to the next capacity building workshop, which will be especially important to build up further collaboration within ShiftHub and other activities. And I also wanted to invite you to our upcoming event, which is the flagship event of the European Digital SME Alliance, the summit, and it will take place on the 4th of December. It is also supported and in collaboration with members of the Digital SME and ShiftUp focus group on e-health. So it will be the largest event at European level for tech and especially technology SMEs, covering all the topics that we have talked about today, and also a full range of others, including standardization, IoT, technology sovereignty, procurement, AI, cybersecurity, and many, many more. So thank you very much, and feel free to get in touch with me or my colleagues for all further questions or even collaboration opportunities.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Gabriele. In regard to time, I would probably postpone questions to the Q&A session at the end, if you don't mind, and now continue with the next sessions. That is actually now on the more practical side, introducing European health data space infrastructure. So that just quickly need to change screens again. So with that, it's now my pleasure to give the floor to the coordinator of the RACE project. So please welcome Evdokimos Konstantinidis, assistant professor in digital technological and open innovation in health at the Lab of Medical Physics and Digital Innovation at the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. Evdokimos is also a vice chair of the European Network of Living Labs, and his research interests lie here predominantly in the area of living lab methodologies combined with agile aspects in health and the well-being domain. And he's currently the coordinator of RACE and the RACE Suite Horizon Europe projects, which both focus on services for the European Open Science Cloud and Evolve to Care Horizon Europe projects, as a response to the call for innovation experimentation frameworks for living labs. And he will now share some insights from data sharing to data visiting and why this is so important. So Evdokimos, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Alena. Thank you for organizing this of the project event. And I would like also to thank all the speakers, especially Gorka, who serves now as the advisory board of RACE. So actually, I'm gonna be really short, but creating mainly the challenge or the problem, and then Nikos will come with the response. So first of all, I would like to ask how many of you know what EOSC is? The European Open Science Cloud. So it's a big effort from the European Commission, a partnership of the European Commission with the EOSC Association for creating tools for open science. And usually the presentation that I do, and I kept this intentionally here just to show you that it's not only us, and I'm gonna shortly explain what does this means. So I believe that all of us believe in the value of open data. Actually, this is when I do this presentation, a lot of people raise their hand, and then many of us search for available open data before starting collecting our own when we have to provide an answer to problem. And if we don't find already actually available data sets, we collect our own data sets. And usually we do a data management plan. But how many of us make this data open and available, especially after the end of the project? And don't feel guilty, it's not only us, but a survey among 10,000 researchers initiated by the European Commission showed that people prefer to save or store data sets in their personal physical data storage, like the USB sticks that you used to have. And they share data mainly when they're obliged to, from a grant agreement from the European project, or interestingly, when they're not obliged, but they know the other person personally. And this is about trust. And we know how important it is for health research to have access to high quality data. So what we try actually to do is, here are some of the barriers for sharing data. And we try to develop technology in order to address at least some of them. So the technology has been designed having in mind the fear and concerns of researchers towards sharing data and not on making things faster or just more secure. So we're a big consortium of 20 partners. The project is finishing in a couple of months. So we reach a high TRL, and we have now this collaboration also with the Shift Hub, and also in terms of combining the Shift Hub objectives and the technology that comes from as a service that comes from RAISE. What we try to do actually in RAISE is to democratize data sharing and data space and data spaces. How we do so? By copying or borrowing the peer-to-peer home renting platform approach. So like using peer-to-peer home renting platforms, they allow you to offer your home for renting. We do the same in RAISE by enabling you to keep your datasets in your premises and allow them to be visited by algorithms. So we do exactly the same in order to, by moving from data sharing to data visiting, we try to increase privacy protection, ownership accreditation, compliance, and traceability. And how we do so? You are a data owner, you have the data in your premises, you deploy a RAISE node, which is easy steps, Nick will explain in a while. And then what you share is not the dataset, but metadata describing your dataset actually, and the sample of your dataset. So if you have an Excel with 1,000 rows, actually you share an Excel with the same structure, but only with 2 rows, for instance. And then other researchers can download the sample dataset, prepare the algorithm script locally, and when they are ready, they send it through RAISE, through the broker, to the dataset, which means to your premises. When the processing takes place and the results are produced, the action, who processes which data, and the hash of the results are registered in blockchain. And the PID, similar to the DOI digital object identifier, is created, and the results go back to the owner. So this is actually your, let's say, your premises, your laptop, or your organization's server. You have your datasets in there. A processing script comes from outside. A trust execution environment is created. The datasets that will be involved in the processing are copied in there. The script is applied, the results are produced, the results go back to the person who requested the processing, and the trust execution environment is deleted. Before giving the floor to Nico, just to mention that although the project finishes this January and having already reached the TRL 6, we have another project that started 2 months ago. The same technical partners will be there, so we can guarantee for the next 3 to 4 years we will have technical support, new features, and debugging. And with that said, I'm giving the floor to Nikos.
Hi all. My name is Nikos Athanasopoulos. Let me introduce myself, Alina. I'm a research associate in Medical Physics Laboratory in Digital Innovation of Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. Regarding the datasets, as Dokimos mentioned, you can upload your dataset securely either in a public certified node, or you can also deploy a node at your own premises. Of course, you can have the option to deploy the node as private, so the only specific users can store their datasets. Regarding the control, you are able to control who accesses your dataset, and of course, you can also deny any access on it. So a user can request to have an access on the dataset, and at any time you can change your decision to deny it. Next slide. Regarding the results, when a user runs an analysis on your dataset, you can also see the results before the user can download it, and you can of course approve or reject the access on them. One of the new features that we implemented is the ability to create a group of researchers, so many users can run their scripts, their algorithms, in one or multiple datasets. So each of the user can run the script on specific dataset and export the results. There you can see the overview of how a dataset looks like when a researcher can upload it. You can see that we have a unique ID of the dataset, the category of it, in which node is uploaded, any language, contributors, and of course a description of the dataset. This is how the marketplace, the Raise data marketplace looks like. So user can search any of the datasets, and in a future update you can also filtering regarding their interest. Users can also run their code in the portal while upload a zip file with their code and the requirements. However, we have also built an IDE, an integrated development environment, so users can run their code via Visual Studio Code as an extension. What is the process when a user sends the algorithm to run the dataset that is running a static analysis before the code is executed? So a short summary of what the code will do along with the potential hazardous actions are produced, and then apply the code on the shareable version of the dataset to audit any results. You can also make an algorithm. When an algorithm is executed successfully, a DOI, a digital object identifier, is produced, and you can use it as a citation. You can also make public the results of your experiment through the Raise platform. Also, regarding dataset trends, users can see how many times download the sample dataset and how many of them run the script successfully, how many request access on the results to increase the impact of the dataset. And also, as I said before, for the IDE, there is also an SDK in Python, and of course you can also use the API, the Raise API gateway, to use it on your own platform. As we said, Raise is not just another data portal. Raise is the infrastructure, provide the means for providing access to the data. Okay. We have also created a spin-off called ZT, using the blockchain technologies for open science and AI data management. If you need anything regarding of how uploading the dataset or making a script, or even deploy a node at your own premises, you can also access on that URL in order to read any documentation regarding the Raise. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
Thanks a lot, you two.
Thank you very much.
So I think that it's really great that, or it's a great opportunity, your platform, and also that you pointed out that it's going to be exploited or it's going to be kept alive, and that you already, secured additional funding. So congratulations for that. I'm really looking forward to your platform being available and growing. And I hope that a lot of the ShiftHub community users will take up on the opportunity and go there, store the data sets, use the data sets, and just keep accelerating data visiting and data sharing. Perfect. I would postpone the Q&A session to the end, because we actually have one last speaker that I would like to give the floor to, because I think that he actually has brings another great perspective on all the things we have already introduced. Because now it's my pleasure to introduce Achilleas Chritas. He's an associate researcher at the eHealth Lab at the Institute of Applied Biosciences, which is belonging to the Center of Research and Technology, HELLAS. And he is working in EU-funded projects on pharmacovigilance, knowledge engineering and medical data analysis, and he will now share the view of a data provider, explaining actually what value the platforms create for them. Achilles, thank you for being with us today, and the stage is yours.
Sorry, hidden with the mic closed. Thank you for your invitation and having me. Like Leon said, I'm going to present a view of a data provider, but I am not actually a data provider. I am a data curator. I'm a part of the eHealth lab in the Institute of Applied Biosciences in the Center of Health and Technology, and we collaborate with the Papageorgiou General Hospital, which is actually the real data provider. Our collaboration has to do with a different approach, but that shares a similar goal. We are part of the Darwin initiative that aims to harmonize medical-related databases into a common data model that is called OOPS-CDM. And the idea is simple, that the data providers have their data in their own premises, and they just convert it to the common data model. So afterwards, any interested parties, such as a researcher, can create scripts that execute analytics, and they can do so because the model is well known, and they can send them to the to each data provider, and afterwards they get the results back, which is we don't have any sensitive information. This part is done manually, but we can assure that only the statistics are returned to the researcher. Odyssey and the OOPS-CDM community in general is a very different approach from EOSC. One is data model, the other is a platform, but they share the same vision. They want to create they want to enable large-scale secondary analysis of data while maintaining strict privacy governance and the compliance framework. And you could argue that the place where they converge is the secure processing environment as identified by the European Health Data Space. Now regarding data, and I'm going to talk about specifically from the perspective of a data provider that is focused on using the data from the primary use, and not for a research project that situation might vary. The reality is that most data provider systems are only built for the primary use in case of hospitals providing patient care and not for research. This can create significant barriers to internal analysis and, in the case of sensitive data, external collaboration when sharing the data. And one of the benefits that the platforms such as Raise provide is especially because the systems of the hospitals does not support such analysis. Now it is possible, and it's something that is usually overlooked because not only third parties can use the data, provided that they exist in a platform such as Raise, but also the data holders themselves, because sometimes they were not able before. And this is something that we have experienced ourselves, because we have a collaboration running, I think, 5 years now, and goes beyond our collaboration with the Raise project. So by enabling doctors to do their own analysis, and also the hospital itself to do some general analysis regarding all the patients as a whole, they can provide, they can gain better insights that can lead to better healthcare. And when these results are published and when known, it can elevate the hospital reputation. Regarding more technical and managerial and benefits regarding management, when the data are used for the secondary use, meaning being analyzed, it is common to detect errors that were not visible before. Such inconsistencies can lead to identify bad data entry practices, because when we're speaking about real-world data, it is almost certain that a large percent of the data will be will have some faults. And of course, speaking of a managerial point of view, the hospital can save money because it doesn't have to maintain a data analysis platform and hire professionals that can maintain and use it. But what is the benefit from the outside world of the hospital? Because right now I talked about only within the hospital. Having the data in a platform, it enhances the data discoverability. And when you can go through the metadata that are available from any data source, the potential partners can find what they're looking for, and they can ask you to collaborate with them. And they can be of various sources like academia, industry, and even national and international agencies. And of course, in the case of industry, it can generate new funding streams, which are very important for institutions. From a governance and legal point of view, when you have a standard approach in order to describe how your data are accessed, it can minimize administrative burdens because you do it once and afterwards the process is known. It doesn't have to be repeated by start from scratch for any potential party that is interested in your data. It can provide a clear governance because all requests are handled within the platform. And of course, there is logs and auditing that can be reviewed in any case, just to be compliant with who can access the data and who actually access the data. But of course, when we're talking about sensitive data like the data from patients, the most important aspect is the security, and platforms like Raise and similar that are focused on privacy-preserving analytics are operate by security by design model, and that doesn't allow direct access to certain data, and analytics are performed via secure communication channels, and thus eliminating the risk of privacy breaches during data transfer. And right now we talked about why to do it, and I'm going to talk about why not do it. Why not you should not use your data for secondary use, because it is a wasted opportunity. Data collected for primary use comprises a potential wealth of knowledge. Not using it for research is a missed opportunity to create value for science and society, and someone could argue that it is our duty to use the data we collect in order to further science. And in case of hospital data, further the patient care levels. That's all about me. If you want to contact me, this is my mail, and this is the website of my team in CERT. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a really interesting insight, because I think that this is sometimes forgot about, like what is actually the need of a data provider, a data curator, and we focus so much on the technological parts and as getting the infrastructures out there that sometimes it's just missed what are actually the benefits or the needs of the data curators. Just putting simple infrastructures sometimes up that meet the primary needs and then adding more fancy features, I'd say. So thanks a lot. Actually, we're now, like that was the last talk, and we now have some time left for questions. So I would like to ask the audience again if there are any questions to all of our speakers. Just quickly having a look at the chat. So what I would like to emphasize to everyone in the audience is also just check out these platforms and the websites yourself and play around with them a bit. And if then some questions arise or issues arise, feel free to contact all of our speakers. They're always happy to help. Contact details will also be provided after the webinar. So they are on the slides, so feel free to reach out. And I would like to take the option to ask like 2 questions. First of all, I would like to ask Ahilia. So you now thinking about again, what are the, I'd say, the primary needs. So because we're creating these community platforms, the data spaces and all of these things. But what we actually need is people getting on there, providing data, doing analysis with the data, sharing data. So getting people to use that. So what incentives or benefits do you believe are, I'd say, the most essential to encourage more data providers or curators to participate, and use these platforms?
Thank you for the question. I'm not going to answer with a very specific answer, but I'm going to say that in general, most people would like to have a direct benefit, because there are different platforms and ways to make your data fair, but all of it requires effort. And especially for when talking about a hospital, they're overworked and they don't have necessary personnel to allocate that many work hours just to provide the data for someone else to benefit from that. So I believe that if you have to give them something that also is direct, meaning and also provide a system to train them to use the platform, guide them how to verify the data, to use the ideal standards.
So actually more support on that. So it's let's say the time efficient usage to ensure that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think that's a very important point to point out. So I'm very happy that you mentioned that. Thanks. I have another question for Evdokimos and Nikos. So you already teased us that there's going to be a follow-up project. So what's next for the RAISE platform? Are there any upcoming enhancements or functionalities or anything you're particularly excited about, like that you can already share with us that is coming in the follow-up project?
I can share, and then Nikos can add on to. Actually, not that exciting when you're from the development point of view. So you have to deliver. So how exciting can this be? RAISE Suite and Cora will be involved in this. Is actually about the continuation of RAISE's data management plan. So it's how we can define a machine actionable data management plan that then will make the RAISE system to follow this data management plan. So actually it's a real plan, not a report. We are used to report on what we've done with the data, and then we define this as a data management plan. Now it's the other way around. We define the data management plan, and then we ask the systems to treat the data following or complying with the data management plan. So this is now the challenge. So you can be sure from the beginning that the system will auto-configure itself in order to make sure that that follows what you have defined. And Nico or Gorka, you can.
Well, I think that you have already mentioned quite well the aim with research, which is the kind of the precedent of I mean, being guided by a data management machine action or data management plan, and to control the quality and what has happened to those datasets since they are generated at the early beginning, to keep all the tracks so that whenever we publish them on the RACE ecosystem, they are together with what has happened on the whole process, and it's controlled. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, I mean, it sounds fantastic, and I've already said that I'm very happy that your project is continuing and that that platform is evolving and is still out there. So yeah, I'm very hopeful that like also the ShiftUp community, that they will take up the opportunity and explore that and use your platform to really share data, explore data, and make use of it. So I'm very hopeful on that. If there are no other questions, I would just basically like to wrap up the webinar. We're really good on time. So thanks everyone for, you still see my slides? Oh. Can you see my slides, or is it a black screen?
It's still black.
Black
It's
screen.
still black.
Okay, I think my laptop just decided. Okay, I'm just trying to share it one more time. Hope now it's working.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So yeah, first of all, of course, I would like to thank all of our speakers for valuable insights and for sharing your talks today. And of course, to our audience, thanks for joining. At the end, I'd like to highlight a few key takeaways from the session. So I think we're all aware that the European health data spaces and also aligned initiatives are really currently paving the way for more efficient, privacy-preserving and impactful health research across Europe. So it's going to be a huge opportunity for the future. And I hope that we all keep contributing to it. And together, like collaborations between these initiatives are super important, such as what we're trying to do with RACE and ShiftUp here also, to really enable collaboration, transparency, and innovation through sharing platforms, communities, and services. So I again encourage you to explore the RACE ecosystem, which is really a trust-driven environment where researchers and innovators can really share and process the data effectively, reducing time to results and also boosting your productivity. So yeah, take up that opportunity, as well as keep discovering the ShiftUp community platform in the marketplace. So really an environment that is supporting collaboration and scaling your smart health solutions. And yeah, just stay connected with us, with each other, explore the platforms, and continue the conversation on how we can collectively really shape the future of health data sharing and health data innovation in the future. So thank you all again for participation, and we really look forward to seeing you at future events and of course on our platforms. And with that, thanks again, and can close the meeting. You will be getting the recording on YouTube as well as the slides. So then you can reach out afterwards to all of our speakers as well. Thank you all again for joining, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.